Nasira sat at her desk, staring at the notes in front of her, but her mind wandered. The walls of her modern Nairobi high school were still foreign to her. Coming from a traditional Maasai village, the city was loud, fast, and filled with unfamiliar faces. Everything about it felt distant, including her classmates. But there was one person who caught her attention, Levi, the class genius. He wasn't like the others. Quiet, focused, and kind, he stood out. Unlike most boys who teased her for her cultural attire and accent, Levi seemed to look past all that. Nasira often found herself watching Levi during class, admiring his sharp mind and dedication. But she was unsure how to approach him. One afternoon, as she sat in the library trying to make sense of an impossible math problem, Levi approached her. "Need help?" he asked, his voice soft but confident. She nodded, not trusting her voice to speak. Levi sat down beside her, patiently explaining the concept until the numbers finally made sense. From that day on, they started studying together regularly. Their study sessions became more than just academics. They began talking about their hopes, dreams, and fears. Nasira confided in Levi about her struggles to fit into the modern world of Nairobi without losing touch with her Maasai heritage. Levi, in turn, shared the immense pressure he felt from his family to excel and secure a scholarship to study abroad. Though they came from different worlds, they understood each other in a way no one else did. As finals approached, their bond deepened, and Nasira realized her feelings for Levi had grown into something more than friendship. One evening, as they sat in the library, their conversation drifted from equations and formulas to the future. "Do you ever think about what you want to do after school?" Levi asked, looking at Nasira thoughtfully. She hesitated. "I want to help my village," she said. "I want to make sure girls like me get an education, but I also want to succeed here in the city. It's hard to know where I belong." Levi nodded. "I get it. My parents want me to go abroad, but I'm not sure if that's what I really want. I want to make a difference here." Their shared uncertainty about the future only brought them closer. Nasira had always thought of herself as an outsider, but with Levi, she felt seen. He didn't dismiss her dreams or make her feel small for holding onto her Maasai roots. Instead, he encouraged her, always reminding her that she could achieve whatever she set her mind to, whether in the village or the city. And soon, their late-night study sessions began to feel like something more. As the weeks passed, Nasira and Levi's connection grew stronger. They started meeting outside of school, taking walks through the quiet parks of Nairobi, where they could escape the noise of the city and just be themselves. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Levi turned to Nasira and said, "You know, I care about you a lot." Nasira's heart raced. She had been waiting for this moment, but hearing the words still took her breath away. "I care about you too, Levi," she replied softly. From that moment, their relationship shifted. It wasn't just about studying anymore, it was about something deeper. But even as they grew closer, the challenges of their different worlds loomed large. Nasira knew her family would never approve of her relationship with Levi. Her parents expected her to stay connected to their Maasai traditions, and dating someone from the city, especially someone like Levi, didn't fit into their plans. Levi, too, was worried about how his parents would react. They had always been strict, focused on his education and future. Falling for a girl from a different background wasn't part of the plan they had for him. Yet, despite these fears, they continued seeing each other, finding solace in their shared dreams. With finals approaching, the pressure was on for both of them. Levi was determined to maintain his top position in the class, and Nasira was equally driven to prove herself. But balancing their growing feelings for each other with the demands of school wasn't easy. One evening, as they sat together studying, Nasira voiced her concerns. "Do you think we can really do this? balance everything. Levi looked at her, his expression serious. I don't know, he admitted. But I do know that I want to try. With you. His words gave Nasira the confidence she needed. Finals week arrived, and the atmosphere at school was tense. Nasira felt the weight of her expectations pressing down on her, but knowing Levi was by her side helped ease some of the pressure. They studied together until late into the night, quizzing each other and offering encouragement. On the day of their first exam, Levi squeezed Nasira's hand. You've got this, he whispered, and for the first time, Nasira believed him. The math exam was challenging, but Nasira felt more prepared than ever before. She worked through the problems methodically, remembering Levi's patient explanations. When she handed in her paper, a sense of calm washed over her. She had done her best, and that was enough. Levi, of course, finished his exam with ease, but he spent the entire time thinking about Nasira, hoping she was doing well. By the time the bell rang, signaling the end of the test, they both felt a sense of accomplishment. As the week progressed, the exams became more difficult, but Nasira and Levi tackled them together. The long nights of studying were paying off, and Nasira found herself feeling more confident with each passing day. Still, the uncertainty of what would happen after the exams loomed over them. Would their relationship survive once school was over? They both knew they needed to have that conversation, but neither wanted to ruin the precious moments they had left. On the last day of exams, Nasira and Levi met outside the school gates, their faces filled with a mix of relief and exhaustion. We did it, Levi said, pulling Nasira into a tight hug. She smiled, feeling the weight of the past few months finally lift from her shoulders. But even in that moment of triumph, they both knew there were bigger conversations to be had about their future, their dreams, and how they could make their relationship work in the face of so many obstacles. A few days after the exams, Nasira and Levi finally had the conversation they had been avoiding. They met at their favorite spot in the park, the place where they had spent so many afternoons talking about everything and nothing. What happens now? Nasira asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Levi sighed. I don't know, he admitted. I want to be with you, but I also don't want to hold you back from your dreams. And I don't want to lose sight of mine either. Nasira nodded, her heart heavy. I feel the same way. But it's hard, Levi. Our families, our backgrounds. It's not just us. Levi took her hand in his. I know. But maybe we can figure it out together. They sat in silence for a while, both of them lost in their thoughts. Neither of them had the answers, but they knew they weren't ready to give up on each other just yet. As the weeks passed, Nasira and Levi continued to spend time together, but the looming reality of their different futures became harder to ignore. Levi received news that he had been accepted into a prestigious university abroad, and while Nasira was proud of him, the thought of him leaving filled her with a sense of dread. She, too, had been offered an opportunity to work with a non-profit organization in her village, helping to improve education for young girls. It was everything she had dreamed of, but it meant leaving Nairobi and Levi behind. They both knew that a decision would have to be made soon. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset, Nasira turned to Levi. I don't want to hold you back, she said quietly. You have to go. You have to chase your dreams. Levi's heart sank. But what about us? He asked. Nasira smiled sadly. Maybe we weren't meant to last forever. But that doesn't mean what we had wasn't real. Levi's eyes filled with tears, but he knew she was right. Their paths were diverging, and it was time to let go. The day of Levi's departure arrived, and Nasira stood at the airport, watching as he prepared to board his flight. They hugged each other tightly, neither wanting to let go. I'll never forget you, Levi whispered. You've changed me, Nasira. She smiled through her tears. You've changed me too, Levi. With one final kiss, Levi walked through the gate, leaving Nasira standing there, her heart heavy but filled with the knowledge that she had made the right decision. In the weeks that followed, Nasira threw herself into her work. She returned to her village, determined to make a difference. The non-profit work was challenging, but it was also deeply fulfilling. As she helped young girls gain access to education, she felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. Levi, too, found success at his university abroad. He excelled in his studies, but there was always a part of him that missed Nasira. Yet, he knew that their separation had been necessary for both of them to grow. Several years later, Nasira and Levi crossed paths again at a conference in Nairobi. Both of them had changed, but the connection they had shared was still there. They spent the evening catching up, sharing stories of their successes and challenges. "I'm proud of you," Levi said, his eyes filled with admiration. "You've done so much." Nasira smiled. "I'm proud of you too, Levi. We both followed our dreams." As they parted ways that night, they knew that though their love had been brief, it had been transformative. Nasira continued her work in the village, becoming a leader and advocate for education and women's rights. Levi went on to have a successful career in tech, always carrying with him the lessons he had learned from Nasira about resilience and determination. Though their lives had taken different paths, they both knew that they had been forever changed by their time together. And while they may not have ended up together, they would always carry a piece of each other in their hearts, a reminder of the love that had once connected them so deeply. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales. Thank you.